And he looked at us, and his family was there. Like, he has a lot to live for, and he said, I can die now because I did what I was called to do. I mean, it was that powerful. And I got on the plane, and I was like, just wrestling with what I just witnessed and what I just saw. And it was so crazy because normally I'm sitting by a friend on a plane or a Christian or somebody, but we got in random seats, and I was sitting by this older gentleman. And he started talking to me, and honestly, I was so tired. I was like, kind of like about to put my headphones in, give the signal. And he's like, what do you do for a living? And this is such a loaded question. And I'm like, I host a podcast. And he's like, oh, cool. Tell me about your podcast. So I'm kind of talking to him, and then he, starts asking me more questions. And finally, we get to a little bit more of a bigger picture of what I did. And then he said, I want to ask you a question. He's like, when you get to the end of your life, you're going to look back at all that you did. He said, what do you think at this point, if you had to sum up all that you've learned from what you did, what would you say? What have you taken away? And this is on the way back from Guatemala. And I said, if you would have asked me that last week, I would have been a typical 26-year-old and been like, oh, I don't know. And I would have said like 10 answers that probably didn't even make sense and what I really meant to say. And then I would be like, I don't know. I'm still learning. I said, but after this week, I got a lot more clarity. And I said, ultimately, I just want to do what I'm called to do in every place that I'm in. And I said, I just want to be able at the end of my life, if I look back at everything that I did, I can do exactly what Elias did and say, I can die now because I did what I was called to do. And what I was called to do was preach the word. And what I was called to do was tell people that the kingdom of God is near. And what I was called to do was love God and love people. And I don't care exactly what I did to do that, but in all that I do, I just want to say that I did that well. And at the end of this passage with the 72, it's really cool because it actually talks about when they return. And I want to read it. It says, the 72 returned with joy, which is also cool because I was reading a commentator on this, and he said, isn't it awesome that all 72 returned and they were the lamb among wolves? So they made it. It says, the 72 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. Jesus said to them, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you. Nevertheless, get this, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. And I love that because Jesus is like, that's awesome what you were able to do. That's awesome what you can do in my name. There's so much more even that you can do in my name. But that's not what you should get caught up rejoicing in. Rejoice that your name is in heaven.